Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. We've got a really interesting story coming out of the AFC North, one that could shake up the entire division. It involves the Cleveland Browns, a team that's been quietly building a competitive roster with a clear eye on making a deep playoff run, but also a story that's intertwined with their rivals, particularly the Cincinnati Bengals. And it all centers around a rookie quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. Yes, you heard that right, Shedeur Sanders, the son of the legendary Deion Sanders, who, despite not expecting to be a third-string quarterback when he entered the 2025 NFL Draft, finds himself in a very unusual position heading into Week 3. Browns, who have been known for their solid defense and a strategic approach on offense, drafted Sanders in the 5th round of this year's draft, a pick that initially seemed like a developmental project, a potential backup, maybe even a long-term project, but certainly not someone expected to be sitting behind Dillon Gabriel and veteran Joe Flacco so early in the season. The Browns, as we know, have been focusing on developing their young quarterbacks, and that's been part of their offseason strategy. They signed Flacco, a seasoned veteran and Super Bowl champion, to provide leadership and stability, while also giving Gabriel a shot to prove he belongs as the future of the franchise. But Sanders? Well, Sanders is sitting third on the depth chart, which might seem disappointing at first glance, but it's also a sign of how the Browns are planning for the future. They're investing in development, but that doesn't mean they're closed off to making moves if the right opportunity presents itself. And that's where things get really interesting, because the AFC North is a division known for its grit, its rivalry, and its willingness to make bold moves. Right now, the Bengals are dealing with a significant injury blow. Joe Burrow, their star quarterback, suffered a grade 3 turf toe injury on Sunday, and the latest reports suggest he'll be out for at least 3 months. That's a huge blow for Cincinnati, a team that's been looking to contend again after a promising start to the season. With Burrow sidelined, the Bengals are left with only Jake Browning and Brett Rypien on the active roster. While Rypien is on the practice squad, it's quite clear that Cincinnati is actively exploring options to fill that void. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported that the Bengals have already reached out to free agent quarterbacks, trying to find a stopgap solution that can help them stay afloat during Burrow's absence. Now, here's the interesting part. Given the current situation, it makes perfect sense for Cincinnati to look toward Cleveland, and not just because they're division rivals, but because of the potential that Sanders offers. You see, acquiring Sanders wouldn't be a massive investment for Cincinnati. The Bengals have over $11 million in salary cap space this season, so cap flexibility isn't an issue. Sanders' cap hit for 2025 is only $955, $548, which makes him an affordable option as a backup for now. And let's not forget, Sanders was the 2024 Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award winner, which speaks volumes about his talent and potential. He's a young quarterback with a lot of promise, and in Cincinnati, he get a much bigger opportunity to be the second-string quarterback than he currently has in Cleveland. Think about it. In Cleveland, Sanders is behind Gabriel and Flacco, with a limited path to the field unless there's an injury or a major shakeup. But in Cincinnati, with Burrow out, he could step into a more prominent role much sooner. It's a chance for Sanders to showcase his skills on a bigger stage, to develop further, and to potentially become a key piece for the Bengals' future if he impresses. For the Browns, of course, trading Sanders might be a tough decision. They see him as part of their long-term plan, a player with upside that could develop into a starting quarterback someday. But the NFL is a business, and sometimes, a good opportunity for a young player to get more playing time could outweigh the potential long-term value in Cleveland. And let's be real, this kind of move wouldn't be unprecedented. Teams are always looking for ways to improve their depth, especially at the quarterback position, which is so crucial in today's NFL. The Bengals, with their immediate need and Sanders' potential, could see this as a win-win situation. They get a young quarterback with a lot of promise, and Sanders gets an opportunity to prove himself in a division rivalry with plenty of spotlight. Meanwhile, the Browns would have to weigh whether they're willing to part ways with a player they see as part of their future, or if they're willing to hold on to him and continue his development behind Gabriel and Flacco. This scenario also raises interesting questions about how the Browns are approaching their quarterback room. Are they open to trading Sanders if the right offer comes along, or do they see his long-term potential as too valuable to part with? The Browns have been pretty strategic in their roster moves so far, but the NFL is all about seizing opportunities. If Cincinnati makes a compelling offer, it could be a game-changer not just for Sanders' career, but for the division as a whole. Because let's not forget, the AFC North is fiercely competitive, with teams constantly trying to outmaneuver each other. A move like this could shift the balance of power, especially if Sanders begins to develop rapidly with more playing time. Now, it's also worth mentioning that the Browns' quarterback situation is interesting in itself. With Gabriel leading the offense and Flacco providing veteran stability, the team's focus remains on competing now while also preparing for the future. Sanders' development is a key part of that future, and Cleveland's coaching staff has been working on polishing his skills, trying to unlock his full potential. But if the opportunity to get a more immediate starting role comes knocking, that could accelerate his development even further, and it might make sense for Cleveland to consider it, depending on the offer and the team's long-term plans. And as we look at the bigger picture, the AFC North continues to be one of the most intense divisions in the NFL. The Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and Browns are all teams with deep rosters, passionate fan bases, and a relentless drive to win. Moves like trading a promising young quarterback for immediate help can have ripple effects that go beyond just one team. They shape the narrative for the entire division, impact draft strategies, and influence how teams approach the rest of the season. So in summary, what we're seeing here is a potential game changer, a perfect storm of injury, opportunity, and strategic planning. The Bengals need help at quarterback, and Sanders, with his talent and potential, could be the perfect fit. For Cleveland, it's a tough decision. Do they hold on to Sanders and continue his development, or do they consider trading him to fill an immediate need elsewhere? Whatever happens, this situation is a reminder of how fluid and dynamic the NFL really is, especially in a division as competitive as the AFC North. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think Sanders should stay in Cleveland, or do you see the benefit in trading him to Cincinnati? Would you be okay with trading a young quarterback with so much promise if it meant strengthening your team's chances this season? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates. So stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news, because this story is far from over, and we're here to bring you all the inside details as they unfold.